Hello, I'm Joff Winterhart. I think that's right. I've written two comics, or long comics, or graphic novels, or comic books, whatever you want to call them. The first one is this one, The Days of the Bagnold Summer. I wrote this one from about 2007 till about 2011. It came out in 2012. I made it into a film, and I would say, you know, you guys are, if you guys are at school, you always like to watch the film rather than read the book, 'cause it's quicker. But actually, this is see how long this book is. It's actually quicker to read the book, but I say watch the film. It's very good. So this is the other book I made, Driving Short Distances. If you thought this one was boring, wait till you read this one. This one is this one's about two guys. This one's about a mother and a son, and this is about two guys who don't know each other. They're not related. So giving myself harder work to do there. That is the person from my new story, Margaret. She's a historian. That story is exclusively in brown. Everyone loves a brown drawing, right? Don't make a book where you have to get a very thin line with a paintbrush. That's my advice, because it's quite difficult. And you can see that's what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to get the paintbrush thin enough to make these tiny lines. But anyway, I'm sure a proper artist could, you know, tell me some good tips about how to do that. But okay, now I have to answer some questions. Okay, when did I start illustrating and writing, and what inspired me to start? Well, what inspired me to start was that I read a lot of comics when I was young, and like I said earlier, I like to, you know, try and make my own stories. Often they were hilariously transparent rip-offs of, you know, whatever I was into, like Sherlock Holmes. I think I made a Sherlock Holmes rip-off called Apple Fruit Watson, which is obviously like, I got the second name from like Sherlock Holmes' psychic. So I left my tracks there, definitely. And also like Apple Fruit, I thought like Sherlock, that's a really weird name. So I guess Apple Fruit is like a 7-year-old's idea of a wacky name. I'm still not very good, like there's lots of things I can't draw. Like here you can see I've drawn these buildings, but you can see the buildings are like that, totally face on, because I'm not really very good at doing perspective. So most things in my comics are straight on. So I'm telling you kids, you can do it. You know, if you think, oh no, I can't do horses, just think of a weird way to do horses, you know, or just suggest the horses, or just do them straight on, or just do the tails, you know. What advice would I give young illustrator writers who want to start creating their own graphic novels? I would say start with horsetails. No, I wouldn't really. I would say don't be like me and try and just start. Lots of people say copying is good, and it's true, because sometimes you copy something like that and it ends up being yours anyway, because no one can tell, because it's so unlike the thing you're trying to do. It ends up being its own thing. You can do that with songs. You can think, I want to write a song like, you know, Smokey Robinson, and it'll sound like, you know, not like Smokey Robinson. It'll sound, you know, like a totally different sort of song. So sometimes it is a good way to do it. To say, I want to do something a bit like this, because it's really hard to be totally original. But at the same time, maybe you could do the opposite and think, I'd like to make a story about someone who I've never. That was kind of what my inspiration was for making these books. Is I thought I do want to make things which about people which I haven't really read about before, I haven't really seen before in films or in books or in songs or whatever. Even though this one is about a teenager, and obviously there's loads of things about teenagers, but I hadn't seen that many teenagers who weren't that attractive, and there wasn't loads of things about teenagers who were heavy metalers, who were into metal. And then definitely I haven't seen things about teenagers where it's also just as much about their mum. So that was like my idea that I had. Their mum. That was my idea I had for this book, where it was going to be about a teenager, not particularly, you know, photogenic, heavy metal teenager, and also it was going to be about his mum as well, because often the mum is just like someone who comes in and goes, you know, but you don't really know their character. So that was why I came up with that. This is going to blow your mind. Painted by Mouth.
Oh, yeah.
By Gerard L. Nees. Corey, Indiana, April 1972. This is how I how I know what to draw and write. You know, when I'm doing all these artwork. Or whatever. Before I do that, I have to plan it out. And then my planning is a real mess. It's like pages and pages of this. Look, this is one of you guys. Look, a teenager. See what that is? It's upside down. It's a teenager doing the thumb texting very fast. This is the best. Look at this. One time I was leaving my house and I was a bit depressed. And this guy, this kind of like sketchy guy in a sort of done up anorak like this, the puffy one, you know, with the quilted bits. He said, "Oh, look at this, you're going to love this." And he just undid this piece of paper and it had a picture of two chimps on it like that. And he sort of stumbled off. And he was right, I did love it. I loved the whole thing. That cheered me up. It cheered me right up. Hey, you guys are teenagers. Everyone play an instrument. It's the funnest. Start a band. Thanks to my neighbour Dan for filming. He's doing a great job, I'm sure. I have a mild, creative invitation for you guys, which is to make a first page of a graphic novel, a short comic story, just a comic strip. If you think, oh, I haven't got any imagination, which I often feel like that myself. You know, like even when I read like Lord of the Rings, I think, oh, I can't even imagine, you know, Frodo's massive foot. You know, how can I even imagine being able to make that up if I can't even imagine it when I'm writing it? So if you want to make something just about, you know, realistic about your own life, that's also really, I would call that stuff automatically interesting. Because you've already got a head start because it's true and you know it better than you would possibly know, initially at least, what it's like to be a three-eyed space princess. So either extreme, of super imaginative, super realistic, super about your life, both very valid forms of storytelling, and anything in between. The prize will be the feeling of having made something or other, which is one of the best feelings there is, in fact. And done in a non-competitive spirit, making things is absolutely wonderful and a treat, and also a kind of madness too, which is, you know, to be encouraged.
Spare our souls as we sail away for India. Relieve our children and no wise. Say goodbye to our former lives. Those who are
Bye! Thanks for watching! You have a good education! Good luck with the future! Shoulder to shoulder we stand or fall. Improve our world! Where we be, the Cornish are ready. I wanna know. Hey, not bad!